I am very pleased to introduce our next session with Ryan, Jake, and Brittany from Fuse. They're going to give us a little insight into their work process and how they work as a team together, and a little insight into behind-the-box personnel. Take it away, guys. Thank you.
All right, here we go. My name is Ryan Middlemiss. I'm the Director of Media Servers for Fuse Technical Group. And for some reason I said yes, and we're going to have a conversation about reality check. So I said in my profile, I was like, everyone's talking about AR, XR, MR, whatever R, and it's really like, wait, like you're forgetting something. You're forgetting the foundation and the people that actually make the technology work, right? So I wanted to kind of bring that home here to be like, yeah, there is a whole nother part of this. Like, you guys are in front of the box a lot, but you forget. Oftentimes people forget about the people and the companies that are behind the box, that are building these systems, that are maintaining these systems, that are making reality, right? So while we're always in virtual reality or mixed reality, there is still reality behind it, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about here. So about Fuse, we are in the touring industry. We do installs, corporate, theater, and virtual production. We currently operate now 6 warehouses now, and we have about 200 plus employees, which is fairly impressive post-pandemic. One of the things that I love about Fuse and the company I work for is we enable people. There's not really any micromanagement. We hire good people and we let them flourish, essentially. There's no red tape, or we try to get rid of as much red tape as possible. Another good thing that's impressive about Fuse is cross-department support. So yes, we are the media server department, but we will do lighting previs as well, and we will help with that because you got a quality computer, you need to know networking, you need to know communication, you need to know power and all that stuff. I just wanted to finish that off with one of my favorite quotes: "Jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one." A lot of people will look at the first one, and that's where they stop that quote, right? But keep in mind, there are tons of multifaceted people out there that are better than master of one. Let's have some fun. Start this off with a little bit of humor. I got so many questions about this photo. If you guys know me, I don't do headshots. So this is technically my wedding photo with my beautiful wife back there, Morgan. So I put that on there, and I got so many questions about it. One of my favorite ones was Andy Babin. That looks like a clone had headshot. Anger by Armani. I was like, all right, Babin, I'll give you credit on that one. So just had to put that out there. All right, so this is our team. So we're gonna start off. We got Brianna Torres. We're gonna start with the people that are, the media server department is based out of LA, but we have people all over the country. So Brianna Torres, she's based out of New York. She does great system designs, awesome paperwork, like really install-oriented. Tao Lee, more on virtual productions and integrations as well. Everyone knows Kohler. Give Kohler a shoestring and a piece of gum, and he's going to give you a PTP clock somehow. So. Then we have Mr. Dan Block. He is based out of Santa Cruz, but he comes in when needed to be a pressure relief valve to help build some of the more complicated systems. Matt Service is just moved to Nashville, and he's going to be supporting the East Coast out of Nashville, the server department. And then this is more of the LA-based personnel. Josiah Battles. I think he's the newest employee. Young, up-and-coming guy, great tech and great programmer. And of course, Jake Brady. He does operations and logistics for us. So we use a program called RentalWorks to manage all of our gear, and it is a full-time job for someone to sit there and make sure that systems are delivered on time, where all of our servers are at, and all the logistics behind that. And of course, you got Brittany. Brittany was the first hire to the department. She's grown so much from her knowledge coming in to what she knows now. I think she actually kind of surpassed me on the server stuff at this point. And then, of course, you got Jake here, Jake Hoganson. He's just awesome and helps manage the department. And then, of course, myself with a duck. So I want to pause here and take a moment and just, look at all these people on the screen. That is 10 people within a media server department. That is unprecedented. And this is what it takes for a company to properly run a media server department with over 175 media servers. So because of these people, we are able to support these jobs. We're able to ship out an average of 4 systems a week. And another good example was the month of May. Over 75 boxes went out in the month of May of all different server types. So a lot of other companies you'll see, they'll have 1, 2, maybe 3. That's 10. So this is appropriately staffed for what we do. And because of this, we're able to actually enjoy life. So no one is, overburdened, overworked. We just try to stay away from weekends. We try to keep it 9 to 5, but no one feels like they have to, burn the midnight oil. We will if necessary, but this is appropriate staffing for what we do. All right, let's start this with a quick WTF moment here, quick vent, because that's just always fun. Why do industry articles suck so bad? So many times we just have these articles that, like, oh, we had a problem, we all got together, we fixed it, it was amazing. That does no one any good.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, like, you really want to, really we should be talking about the details. What went wrong? Like, get to the granular part of it, get to the technical part of it. Like, it wasn't working. Stuff was failing, and this is how we figured it out. Not this kumbaya, everything was great. This is a personal one on a personal project that I'm working on. SMPTE 2110 is absolutely annoying and not cost effective. We can go in a lot of detail about that, but
We don't have enough time for that. That's,
know.
we have 33 minutes. That's not even close.
this is one of my favorite things. Stop making simple things complicated to justify yourself. Real skill is making complicated situations simple. There's a lot of times we will have personnel that will come in, programmer, production manager, designer, and they just want to make things overly complicated for no return on investment of art. So the real skill is coming in and making complicated systems simple, and that is how you can tell the difference between, professional and unprofessional.
Our systems and everybody else's.
Touche. Stop posting about coffee. No one cares.
Literally no one cares.
Yeah.
I care a
please.
little bit.
It's just coffee. It's just, I mean, really.
So throw that one in for fun. And then, what was this one? Just any questions about, these quick ventilations. If anyone wants to add to it, feel free to. So one of the things that we've noticed in the industry is people just aren't blunt. Like, you can beat around the bush and all that stuff, but it really gets in the way of productivity. If you're feeling something or you need something, just be blunt. Don't send an email that's 10 paragraphs long that could be a phone call or a 2-paragraph sentence. Be blunt. And this is how we operate within Fuse. So going to our business practices and ethics. So it's kind of an unconventional thing that we do at Fuse within the media server department and, within the company as well. We look at personality and ethics first. When I hire somebody or I don't even look at a resume, honestly. I want to meet you. I want to know about you. Technology, I can teach, right? It's I don't want to say it's easy, but it's something that you can learn with supportive people in a supportive department. It is important to know that you're going to be able to blend in with the company because it essentially will become an extended family. So we focus a lot on mental health in our department. That is what comes first. It's not the job. It is your personal and mental health. So if you need a day off, send a text, say I'm not feeling it today, and it is what it is. But we're able to do that because of all the personnel that we have. We encourage further education and growth. If you want to go to a class, it's paid for, go. It's no questions asked. we do you have creative technical space for clients, friends, and family. And we're a very family-based department, and it sounds weird, but like we are fairly unprofessional with each other. So it's like being blunt, being honest, take care of yourself first, and to fairly be unprofessional about it. Just a lot of people will just be like, oh, I need to send in a PTO request for one day. That's not how we operate. Just say, I'm taking a day off, and that's it.
And to further the point, like, especially in encouraging further growth and education, like we constantly are inviting freelancers, people from vendors, from other companies, anybody that wants to come in and hang out for a day and learn something new and teach us something new. We're in an environment where we learn too, and that's one of the best things that we've been able to create as a department is that it's like Ryan said, it's very family driven. We treat each other like family. We treat our friends like family, and we try to make sure that everybody is supported, whether it's what's going on at work or whether it's what's going on at home. Because I think one of the things that we all learned from basically our forced stoppage with the pandemic, especially myself, who was rooted in live events, on tour 200 plus days a year, grinding, having to slow that down and really think about other ways of using my talents and my thought process and becoming more of a house cat, for lack of a better term. But I think that's a big part of something that we have bonded over as a group. Ryan and myself are dads. We've got little kids at home, and we've spent all of those nights away from our family, and being across the world and the time difference, and you're trying to manage your inner head space with what's going on at home, and you're trying to think about, well, I have to wake up in the morning, and I have to do this, and then I have to travel here, and then I lose all these hours, and it's just like, taking that stress out of my life personally recently has actually helped me grow as a person. And it's also opened up my creative and technical space within my own head of like, how do I do something different in this environment? And I think that's something that we have been able to really hone in, not just in the media department or media server department at Fuse, but the company in general. Like we've got probably the best, most talented team of people that I've ever worked with on a daily basis, and I couldn't be happier to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I think I bring like a Gen Z perspective to this, where I don't have kids and I don't have.
Is that because you're on the TikTok?
Yes, but being young, you're interested in so many things. I can't 100% say like I want to do media servers for the rest of my life. I've gone to Ryan and say, hey, I'm interested in lighting. And he'll literally give me all these classes and courses on how to learn lighting. Not that it doesn't necessarily interact with media servers, but I was more interested in literally the lighting aspect of it. And he was very open about me learning it. And then also, they've toured for years. I'm just now starting to do a few tours of myself, but when I was interested in it, he was like, yeah, go on this tour. And to not be afraid to ask, like, can I please go on this tour without being like, I'm going to be gone for a few months. I know this is going to really hinder your department, but can I please do this? And I don't think I've ever gotten any pushback about stuff like that, which is rare. I recognize how rare that is, because not everyone can do that and go to their boss and say, hey, can I do this for my personal benefit and not for yours at all? So it's really great to feel.
It's called vacation, Brittany.
It feels really great to be able to go to someone and know that I can look out for myself if I really need to and not be afraid of it.
I mean, at this point, you just tell me what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Universal today.
So, all right, this is an interesting concept here. Know your worth. Never sell yourself or your company short. So, there's a lot of, job goes out, right? It goes out to bid. Say, so 3 companies are bidding on the company or bidding on the project, and I don't understand completely why it's always a race to the bottom. Why? Why do companies do that? You're selling your gear short, you're selling your personnel short. you're basically saying, I'm cheap. So it's okay to say no. A lot of companies, we go through bidding and stuff, and you're just like, there is no way they're making any profit off of this. And that is not good for their company, definitely, and it's not good for the industry. So you got to think about, like, what that when you're a company doing that, what does that represent? I mean, to me, it's you don't respect your people or your gear or your services. So kind of think about that. So think about this a little bit, as many of you will become producers and, will eventually deal with budgets and, dealing with the client. When have you ever asked for more money for your vendor or more money for your labor instead of asking your labor and your vendor to cut money? It's an interesting concept because a lot of people will be like, oh, you're getting paid $3 million for this. Yeah, but my risk is 30. So it's you got to look at vendors because, I work for a vendor, but you'll see that drive to the bottom so frequently, and it's in this industry. So if I was a producer and I saw someone come in 50% less than two other people, I wouldn't talk to that company because there was something obviously wrong there. So basically, yes, know your worth. Stick to your day rates. And when people ask you to shave a $200 off your day rate or $100 off, say no. Know your worth, because that will get you respect. And be kind about it, but just be like, no, I really need this, especially post-pandemic. Even in budgets that I do, sometimes I have to take money from the gear to pay the people right, which I will do that. That's fine.
Well, that's where it should go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point of what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
I mean, gear is gear, right?
Gear is gear. I mean, we talk about this all the time. It's just like you can go to any company and get a disguise server or MBox or whatever. It's just like it doesn't matter. It's the same hardware, but it's the people and the personnel behind the box that you want to invest in. So yeah, I just want you guys to kind of think about that as you go on within this industry, to actually care for your vendor. They will take care of you, but it shouldn't be like every time we have a conversation, you want a 50, 60% discount, because we as a vendor do have a lot of risk on the table. We have a lot invested in this product, and we need to make money so we can pay our people appropriately so they can have, comfort, mental health, reliability, sustainability. So don't sell yourself short or your company. It's something that I firmly believe in, and we walk away.
I think like, going back to when we had our department up there, the 10 people that really drive the engine, that's what you're getting. So when you look at the price, don't look at the line item, don't look at the server, don't look at what you're actually getting, the gear. Look at the support you're going to have when something happens. Especially when you're on a long run tour, right? Where gear is bouncing all over the place, in and out of trucks, in and out of airplanes. I mean, it's not just being installed into a temperature controlled environment and having the same person looking after it every day. That is one thing. But we're talking about building, massive systems that are capable of doing multiple shows, whether it's a headlining act in an arena that also has to go to a festival. You have to think so many steps ahead to make sure that what you're building and what you're sending out is prepped properly, is going to last the whole tour. I mean, there's so many variables that go into that. And I think that too many people get caught up on the line item, and they get caught up on the cost of that, and they get caught up on this and that and the other thing. It's like, well, hold on. Okay, you're going to take millions of dollars worth of gear and you're going to throw it around all over the world for the next 6 months. Let's have a proper support team behind it. And that goes from us to our vendors, the people that we buy our equipment from and have to RMA through and have to constantly maintain things. And we take a lot of pride and a lot of time in making sure that from where it happens on site to where it comes back to the shop and then gets repaired and then goes back out, that it's tested thoroughly. And all of that still comes back to the people. It comes back to the people that are involved in that whole process. Because we can always just go buy something new, you know, and that's something we live in a society now, is we can just go buy something new. Well, how about we just fix what we already have? It's not that hard. But it takes the people to be able to execute that process. And without those people, you know, you're literally just throwing stuff in the bin, and that's a waste. And that's something I'm pretty passionate about. So I think we do that really, really well from start to finish.
Yeah, our support structure is built to be efficient and successful, essentially. And we do spend a lot of time with relationships with vendors, suppliers, and to be able to pick up the phone, give them a call. Don't send an email or a Slack message. I think we can move on. Yeah, so like we've talked a lot about return on investment or personnel, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, you know, you need to track your return on investment on product. You know, it's like, yeah, that's fine, but our return on investment is on personnel and people. As you guys can tell, like that is what our passion is. Like I for example, I take the train in from Ventura to Glendale, and then, you know, someone's going to pick me up, and I ask them, how's it going? And it's
If
not
you're
just,
lucky, someone's going to pick
I'm
you
lucky
up.
someone picks me up, or I walk. But you know, someone comes by and they'll pick me up, and you know, how's it going? And it's meant, like, I mean it. Like, is everything okay? Do you need any help? Return on investment. How can I help you be, you know, better person? Like, if I invest in the people, the gear is going to have, you know, you're going to receive your, it's going to be parallel. You're going to receive your return investment on the gear, because people are going to have that, you know, they're going to have that compassion for the client and just be like, hey, check it in, see how's everything going, and the client's going to just keep on coming back. We have a lot of return clients that way, and a lot of emails of people being like, hey, just want to say thank you because the support was awesome. But it's the return on investment. You invest in your people first, and the gear will follow naturally. I don't really worry about ROI on gear anymore, because I know I tracked it for a year, 2 years, and it was just like, okay, well, it's making money. Let's focus on the people, because it's better that way. Jake, you want to talk about the build efficiency and how we kind of?
Yeah. So, well, that was way too close. So the efficiency in design and logistics is something, kind of going back to my earlier point, that like coming off of doing as much touring and traveling and having different sized kits that I would travel the world with, whether it was, you know, a large rack system or a small like flight pack system or whatever, and whichever server or cameras, or, you know, I've done a little bit of everything. But I think one of the biggest things that we try to do is we try to design and build systems that stay together. Whether it's disguise boxes or hypnotizers or Pixera or M-Box or whatever we have on the shelf or whatever the client needs, we try to keep basically like the meat and potatoes of the system the same, so that whether we have to swap out like, you know, a different disguise box with 3 outputs or 4 outputs or 2 outputs or whatever, like we have all of the necessary components in the system that can convert signal, that can test signal, that can monitor signal, sync, all of that kind of stuff. And as we get into the more network-based stuff, we are doing the same thing with our networking and anything that is 2110 or not. and we are trying to also make sure that we are using the same backbone for all of those systems going forward, so that, you know, you're always going to get the same thing from the Fuse server department, right? You're always going to get a rack that's completely teched out, has been flushed out, all the I/O is working, all the networking is working. There's a spreadsheet that's involved with it. We send pictures, and then, you know, once we release it into the wild and somebody gets it, then yeah, we're always there for support. But we are trying to minimize the back and forth phone calls, panic moments that people have had because I have been, that person that's in South America and I just can't get a machine to boot. Things happen, and we all understand that. It's just, again, at the end of the day, it's gear is gear. Computers die, UPSs blow up, things happen. But like, can we set somebody up for success when the gear and they leave the shop? That's what we're trying to do. And again, back to our team, that is a big reason why we have 10 very, very talented people that make sure that this happens. And I cannot stress enough that like our support and failure ratio is super low, and I'm really happy that we have the team in place that we do. And it goes for the clients and the freelancers and the people that we try to hire as well. As it's like, I hate to say it, but just don't be a dick, right? Like, and you'll probably get hired, or we'll probably give you a call or something, or you'll get something from us. And we expect that back, and we don't expect to have that attitude towards anybody else. So I think that all kind of like encompasses the same thing. Is it's like it's the mental health, it's the scheduling, and it's the gear, and all of that goes in that order. And I think that's why we're as efficient as we are.
Yeah, we did spend a lot of time coming up with system designs that can be utilized on multiple jobs. So if someone wants like a cut and dry system of just this, they're probably going to get 90% more than what they asked for. And that really comes down to it just being efficient on the department's end to turn and burn these systems. We can get a system back, clean it up, send it out in 4 hours. Just run it through QC, send it out in 4 hours. So that turnaround time is severely minimalized or minimum and that's great. That's great for money because like you got a tour come back in and a tour going out the next day. You don't have any real downtime. So we do put a lot of effort and thought into these system designs that should be like, it's going to handle 90% of the shows out there. And for the other 10% that it doesn't handle, we just add another one to it and you're good.
Right. I mean, there's still bespoke system design and there's still all that kind of stuff and specialized things. But like we try to make it so that, if you're coming in and you're getting a disguise system from us, it's the same thing every time, from when it leaves the box, how it goes through processing, and then when it goes on the screen. And that is super important, especially in the touring environment. Installs, it's obviously a different beast, but like in the fast-paced world of touring and even theater and some corporate stuff, it's nice to have these systems that we can just roll from one job to another. And again, it just goes back to the people that make that happen.
And the last thing, it's okay to say no. We have a lot of sales guys at Fuse, right? And everyone like it's fairly common that sales guys think that they have the only jobs within the company. So when they come up and ask for something that's just completely ridiculous, it is okay to say no and give them, but you have to give them an alternative solution. It's it's their lack of planning or anybody's lack of planning doesn't constitute an emergency for you. So it's okay to say no, but provide a alternate solution to them. It's important. All right, so yeah, we talked about vendor relationships briefly, but we want to dive deep into this. I hate Slack. I hate email. I hate ClickUp. Monday, whatever anybody uses, is annoying to me. I am definitely a phone person, and I do truly believe that is crucial to success. So, like, if I'm having a problem with a server, piece of gear, or whatever, I just call the company, and people forget about that. And it's like, oh, let's go through their support, contact us, submit an issue ticket, and you're gonna get a response. Whether like 2 hours, 1 day, who knows, right? It's a void. Pick up the phone. And it's not that people aren't willing to answer the phone, it's just people aren't picking up the phone and calling people. It's okay to have off the grid conversations to get something done quickly. It's yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of my suppliers are get a little annoyed by me at sometimes because I just pick up the phone and call and be like, hey, I need this solved right away. But the best thing about it, it gets solved faster than any email, Slack message, or anything like that. So it's okay to pick up the phone and call. Like, we have lost that communication with with digital communication. It's like you have to be able to talk to people, and it's because it's definitely a lot faster. They can hear the tone of your voice. They can tell if you're mad or not mad, and it's definitely the best form of communication, I personally think. Brittany?
Yeah, I think I'm very big on picking up the phone too. I mean, I can't speak for the rest of my generation on that end, but I will say, especially in this industry, a lot of people are very slow on their emails, which is very frustrating. So I completely agree, because everything's just really fast, everything. So we need an answer right now. I don't need to wait, the next business day, which I know that's maybe standard practice, but let's just answer it right now, and then I can figure it out in the 3 days of the weekend we have. So I really prefer to not use emails, because again, a lot of people are very slow in this industry on emails. Yeah.
You talking about anybody specifically? Or
No,
is
honestly.
that just a general?
I will say, when I first started in this industry, before I got hired by Ryan, I was emailing so many, vendors or studios or whatever. I don't think I got one email back. And I know, maybe I got a few, but it took like weeks. And at that point, I was already working, so I was like, no, I can't do this for you. And I know there's a lot of other young people. Quick question, who's 25 and younger in here? 2. So there's a lot of young people out there who really want to be in this industry, and there's just not enough people either giving them a chance or just kind of blowing them off and kind of focus on what they're doing at the moment. But eventually, time passes. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, time passes. So we really need to think about the next generation coming up in here, and focus on getting them trained up and to replace you, because we're all going to be replaced one day. So let's just really train up whoever's coming next.
Yeah, one thing I can say is, like, the way that I operate is I do phone calls first, text messages second, email third, and I don't really look at Slack anymore. So to get a hold of me, if I'm not picking up your phone call, I'm definitely not answering your email. Like, it's just call me, keep calling me. It's not annoying, just call me. It's just, if I don't pick up or call you back, it's because other people are calling me, which is totally fine. But be persistent. For those that are coming up, like, get the contact info. Like, work through your friends networking, like personal networking. Like, don't send a LinkedIn message. I don't even know the last time I logged into that. I don't even know if Facebook is still alive. Like, you should literally just work within this community and these connections you have, and get the person's number and call them. Leave them a message. Call them again. Maybe call like 2 times a day, not like 4. But it is very important for me. That's how you're gonna get my attention, and that's how Brittany got my attention. She randomly showed up, and then we started talking. And then she called, and she sent an email with her resume. I didn't even look at that email, and I hired her. But I hired her based off the communication and the phone call, and just sitting there talking, and we went off to lunch or whatever. But so work that system. Try to the social media stuff. I get it. There's a reason for it. The digital communication, but really at the end of the day, try something old, I guess you could say, and just work the floor essentially. Talk to friends, to get the connection of where you want to go.
I get more out of somebody calling me and writing it down with a pen and paper than I do out of email, Slack, or text messages. Like if you back to the efficiency, I feel like those mediums are not efficient anymore, and I feel like they're just a data dump. Like, people just put things in there, and it's an excuse for them to be able to deny it later. Oh no, well, did you see that I put it in the Slack channel? Well, there were 97 replies, and I was at my daughter's dance class, so no. Seriously, if you had called me, you might have had a shot. But yeah, like I just don't subscribe to that idea that that's a more efficient way of doing anything. I think it's totally fine if you're really trying to like compartmentalize information and do spreadsheets, and you have, you know, something simultaneous that's going on with people in the same environment building a system. I can see but like on a just normal like back and forth basis about especially client to vendor relationships, like what do you need for your show? What can I do for you? That doesn't work. It's just not efficient. It's not good.
It's not personable.
Well, that too.
Like if you want personal support, you know, if you want vendor support, and you know, you have to have that relationship. And there's people I've talked to on Slack that I've never met in my life, and I'm just like, this is not interesting to me. And so they're not going to get the attention of somebody that gives me a call. We talk for 20 minutes, talk through the system. Hey, what do you need? And, you know, find out a little bit about them.
Shows passion about a project.
Yeah.
Like, because then that makes us passionate, right? Like, and we're a passionate group of people in our department. Everybody comes from different parts of this industry with different passions and different views on things, and we collectively come together and make it better. But like, unless you really talk to somebody about a project, you really don't know like how invested they are in emotionally, technologically, whatever it is. Like that's important to me personally. Like when I hear somebody's excitement about something and I can get on board with what we're trying to accomplish, man, like let's go, let's do it. But you know, this kind of impersonal, just like here's my email or here's my demands, come back to me with a price. It's just like, okay, cool. Well, I could probably just say no to that.
I mean, we will do it, you know, like eventually, but it's not going to take priority. Like it's the personal relationships that take priority, and that's where we're going to put our time. What's up next?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I finished this at 3 a.m. this morning, so yeah. It's just building a successful team. I mean, I don't need to talk too much about this. It's, I mean, what we've just talked about, essentially.
I don't remember what else is.
Yeah, we talked about mental health. Yeah, I guess
We're at that point.
we're at that point to see if anybody has any questions for our weird group of people up here.
I will like to say, because I know about like 20 people off the top of my head who want to join this industry. If I hear someone say there's a labor shortage one more time and not actively looking for people who are interested in this and not, you know, they don't want to teach them or they just want someone who already knows what's going on, I think you are at a highly, like, you're just disadvantaged. There's people that want to learn, and there's the facilities here and, you know, other vendors and studios that have that, you know, that learning space. And if you're not providing that for anyone, then yes, there will still be a labor shortage.
Anybody? Come on, Kohler. I know you want to ask a question.
So I have a question.
Okay.
There is a fearlessness in the clarity with which you make these declarations. I would like to understand when you bend your rules. What are the parameters that's necessary for success, supporting each other, relationships, any of that?
That's good.
When do we bend our rules? I mean, system-wise, we still do bespoke systems, right? And if we need to bend things, yes, we will, but I don't think we will ever bend our values as a department. There's been situations, programmers have been disrespectful to techs, and screens producers have been disrespectful to the department. And I will call you out. It's that simple. Like
There's a list. We definitely keep a list.
So
Let's put it that way.
We are willing to bend you know, but we're on certain points, like, you know, our workflow, if it's very specific, and I would kind of question you and just ask you to justify it. You know, it's okay to question things, and if someone gets mad at you for questioning things, they're not willing to teach you. So we'll ask the question, be like, why are you doing it this way, when we have a lot of experience, and hopefully it's an educational point for all of us. I think we're all willing to be taught. So if we ask a question, it's not out of disrespect, it's just because we want to know as well. But I think one thing I could say we as a department and company are firm on is, I don't think we'll ever break or bend the values that we have, and that we will always stick up for our personnel.
Yeah, I mean, we stick up for each other, and that's like the most important thing. So, yeah, to Ryan's point, I think bending any kind of like rules, so to speak, is really going to be more on the gear side of things than it is on the personnel side of things, because I personally won't bend any rules for people that don't deserve the opportunity. Like Brittany said, I would much rather, you know, hold class with a bunch of really, really intelligent people teaching a bunch of really eager people that want to learn than hand somebody a check for a bunch of nonsense that they put us through because they're disrespectful. I'd rather see the growth in the education of the next wave of people before I give somebody, you know, money that's.
Yeah, and it's very, I think, in this knowledge, you know, the information we have these days in our hands, I think we're all kind of realizing, like, hey, you know, we actually do all care about our mental health, you know, personally. And yes, we also do care about our neighbors and our friends, but, you know, I hear, especially in this industry, and, you know, I come from a military background, so in that industry especially, I hear a lot of people say, you know, well, no, when I came up, I did whatever it took, you know, I cried in the corner and I did whatever it had to be done. And it's like, dude, you're yelling on me at 9 a.m. You're not okay. You know, so I find it funny when people say they've gone through so many things and they're fine, and it's, you know, and they're, you know, blowing their heads off, screaming at people, and it's like, obviously you're not fine. So I think we're at this point where we're really realizing that we really need to take care of ourselves, and I think that's really something we can't cross that line with. Like, there's no really bending rules for that at this point anymore.
Thank you for that. I do have a follow-up, because it's something, Ryan, you and I discussed on the phone, and thank you for answering my email, by the way.
Hey!
It was replied to with a text message that went to a phone call, but something you mentioned that I want to highlight, because you did point out that you have all the room in the world for your team to message you and say, I'm not feeling it today. But you can support that because your team is well-rounded in all of your responsibilities. And I wonder if you could speak to that a little bit, how you support each other.
I mean, long story short, we have each other's back at the end of the day, and we do have the quantity of people to be able to do that. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some times where there's just two of us in the shop, and, like, I mean, I've done it. I've called Jake and be like, hey, not feeling it today. Is that okay? And he's like, absolutely, you know. And I'm going to put a little more pressure on him for the day, depending on what's going on. Or, you know, and then if he needs a day, it's the same thing. But it's when I joined Fuse and started thinking about, I mean, I joined Fuse and I was just we're the only media server person during COVID. So I was thinking about, like, hey, you know, eventually I'm going to have to get more people. And I just was, you know, focusing a lot on that. And it was just like, how can I make a department that is not like any other department? And just like, what is important to me? What do I value? And what is this industry missing? And I think Jay can go in more detail about this as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, because when he got hired there at Fuse, and then he brought me into the fold to start doing more jobs for him because he didn't want to do them anymore. Let's be honest. So like the whole time we're doing that, and I'm coming into the shop, and you know I was local to the shop at that point, and it was just him, and then Brittany got hired, so then it was just the two of them. And then Brittany was going out and like programming shows on Disguise and stuff, and so then it would just be back to Ryan, and then he'd call me and go, are you off tour? What are you doing? Can you come into the shop? I need to build a system, whatever. And basically, like, the slow process was him just trying to convince me, like, hey man, do you really want to keep touring like this? I mean, because again, my daughter was growing up, and I was forced to stop touring as much as I had been during the pandemic, and started doing a lot more work. I worked at the OGXR and at Showbiz Studios, just like Ryan. Like, I mean, I was forced into being, again, more home-based, but it was something I wanted to do because I wanted to watch my kid grow up. And I watched so many other parents, friends of mine out on the road, being FaceTime parents all over the world. We'd be in Belgium, we'd be in Japan, we'd be in all these places, and the time difference, and it would be like, oh, so-and-so's going to bed, and I did it myself, and I gotta be honest with you, I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really interact enough with my kid, and that was a big reason for me, and Ryan pulled at my heartstrings about it, where it was like, hey, if you come off the road, and we can build this department together, and we can build what we have, and we can have these values, and we can have these opinions, and we can be strong-willed, and we can do what we want to do, then, like, is that more interesting than being on the road for 200 days a year? And after a long internal conversation with myself, it was. And I still get to do cool stuff. We still go out and gig, but now I have the opportunity to choose when I want to go out and gig. I have the opportunity to be like, hey, this sounds fun, let's go do that. And we don't say no to each other. Brittany wants to go out, and she just did her first European tour this year and had a blast, and we were like, absolutely, go, have fun. Because everybody should experience that. And if you're getting paid to experience that, then go, like, that's the support we want to give everybody that we work with, everybody in our department, is that you have unquestioned free will. That will never be a question. So in terms, again, back to the original question about bending things, like, I'll never bend that. I'll always let that ride, personally.
Yeah, and I feel pretty much the same. Like, I hear them tell me, hey, I got to go to my daughter's recital or my, whatever the case is, and I'm like, okay. Like, I don't think I've ever had any animosity towards them taking a day off, just because I know they never had any animosity towards me. And the same with Josiah, who's probably the youngest one on our team. He 100% understands, like, hey, there's life outside of this, so let's enjoy it. So it's very, like, it's unbelievable, like, the stress it takes off your shoulders when you can finally think that type of way. Because again, coming from a military background where everything is under scrutiny, it's so stressful to even say, like, hey, can I have just this one Tuesday off? The one day off I've been asking for like a year now. And to just be able to say, hey, I really, want to go on Universal on a non busy day. Can I go? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then same thing with them. I hear them talking about their kids, and I'm like, please do that. Like, get out of here. Actually, I don't even want to see you right now.
She has kicked us out a couple of times.
So yeah, I just want to reiterate that, like, the stress that takes off is I can't understate it, honestly. So, yeah.
I think we'll wrap this up. It's at the end of the day, when you enable people like what we have done in this department, like, you're gonna get more productivity out of them within 4 hours than you would a normal hire that you went through the resume for, like a corporate type situation. Then what would take someone 8 hours, you can get out of our team in 4 half the time, because they have the support of the whole department and the company.
Yep. Yeah, we have one from the chat online. This one's from Michael. What methodology did you use to source the people that you've hired?
Phone.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'll just post my number on the website. They can call me. That's really it. Phone call, meet up, talk.
Could you give them your number right now?
Yeah. I'll post
You
it
want me to?
online.
Yeah, you want me to put it up on the?
You can. It's 805-794-1426.
There you go.
Yep.
Social security number next, or?
Feel free to call.
You can have my bank account number. There's, that too.
If anyone is curious, literally the way I got hired is I met Ryan and he asked me, "Do you need a job?" And I said yes, and that's the extent of that.
Because, hamper this a little bit more. Like, I don't care about your technical background. I don't. I can teach you that. Jake can teach you that. Brittany can teach you that. Brittany taught Josiah. I didn't teach him anything. Like, the team has taught each other. I don't teach anybody anything. I just put the team together. So it's like, I'm going to sit down. We're going to have a conversation. I'm going to judge you based off of your personality and your mental health. And you're like, if you need help, or you're like, that's what I'm going to do. I don't care about if you went to college. Honestly, I don't. I don't care about the technical background at all, because that can be taught. I can't teach you. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know how you to change who you are, nor do I want you to change who you are. I can teach you the tech stuff. I just want to be like, here, you're going to be part of the team. Like, who are you going to pick for flag football type thing? Like, that's what it is. So like, I can teach you the skills, but I can't change your personality. I'm not that good.
All right, let me officially say thank you. I am so happy that you could be here with us today and expose this part of our industry, which is vital to all of us doing our work so well. So thank you for being here. We're on a lunch break, and we get started back up at 2 o'clock. Thank you, everyone.